And Enin said, life shrinks or expands in accordance to one's courage. And I wanted to talk a little bit today about perception and how we view the world. I've been writing my newsletter this week, which I do 4 times a year. And as we head into autumn, I was reflecting back over the last 3 months of how things have been for everyone, for myself included, and just really considering that our perception of how we see things is absolutely critical, and that we all view things very differently depending on the filters that we have in place and depending on what we've learnt along the way from our families of origin, but also other things that we've assimilated and integrated into our belief system. And as we head into autumn, I always think that, well, I know from my own sort of observations of what happens with my body, that the change in the seasons actually puts quite a stress on the body, and it's a time of year when people can sort of get colds or feel quite tired as we're adjusting to going in and out of heated buildings. It might be quite cool outside, quite warm on the inside, or vice versa. We've had some beautiful weather the last couple of weeks, and hopefully that will continue. But if the heating goes on in places in your home and in workspaces, that can be quite difficult to adapt to. So I was reflecting and thinking about the body, how the body adapts and adjusts, and also the body's internal pharmacy. So I just wanted to say a little bit about that today in terms of perception and the way that we see the world. So your body has the most incredible internal pharmacy, which can be activated and is constantly being activated and stimulated by our perception and by the thoughts that we think. It has the capacity and the ability to release exactly the right chemicals and hormones at exactly the right time to assist the body to heal itself. The body has the most incredible capacity to regenerate and to heal itself over different periods of time depending on the part of the body. So for example, the skin can repair itself within 1 to 3 days, whereas other parts of the body take longer for the cells to renew and to regenerate. But most of that will all happen within a period of 12-month cycle. And so thinking about this internal pharmacy, I just wanted to give the example of how 2 people might see something, perceive something in an entirely different way, and therefore their bodies will release different kinds of chemicals. And the example I'm going to give is a roller coaster ride, a big roller coaster ride at the fair, at a theme park probably, if it's going to be that big, and how one person might see that as something quite frightening, maybe very frightening, something to be scared of, something to be wary of, and not something to be looking forward to. Now their body in that situation will go into what we commonly call fight or flight. So that's our body's ability to get us out of situations of danger, of real danger. The thing is that with the brain, the way it perceives those messages, if we're frightened and we're telling our bodies through the thoughts that we're having that we're frightened, then those stress hormones and chemicals will be released anyway, whether the situation is actually dangerous or not. So adrenaline and cortisol are 2 of the main chemicals that you may have heard of. And what happens when they flood our bodies, when we're not in a situation of real danger, is that they then have to be eliminated, and they put a huge amount of stress on our elimination organs and also on our immune function. So you can see how, as we head into autumn and we're actually needing to support our immune system and to support our bodies in the best way that we can, the way that we see things, the way that we view the world actually does have an impact. The other person sitting right next to this first person in the carriage, just as they're about to set off for the ride, sees it as an adventure. They see it as something to be excited about. They're actually quite pumped up, but in a good way, not in a terrified way, not in a frightened way, not in a fearful way. So they're seeing it as an adventure, something to explore, a new experience. And their bodies will release endorphins. So these are the feel-good chemicals that we get from exercising when it's something that we're enjoying doing, when we're outside, when we're in nature, when we're feeling in a happier, calmer, relaxed place. Now that seems a bit ironic when you think you're on the top of this roller coaster, but actually it doesn't have to be a completely relaxed situation for our bodies to release endorphins. We have to only to laugh or to smile in order to do that, and our bodies will release feel-good chemicals. Other ones that you may have heard of are serotonin and oxytocin. And serotonin is one of the main chemicals that are indicated in mood fluctuation. So when people have very low mood, or they actually go into a period of depression, their serotonin levels will be quite low. And there are lots of ways that we can naturally increase our serotonin levels, and one of them is doing something that we love. So finding an exercise or a movement patterning to fit into your daily routine that you actually love and that you enjoy and that you look forward to. So one situation, two different people, two very different ways of looking at that situation, and two very different responses from the body. The brain cannot differentiate between the real and the imagined. And most of the stress response in our body, when we flood the body with those chemicals that then have to be eliminated, is actually not a real danger. It's an imagined one. It's something that we imagine in our minds, something that we're catastrophizing over. We're saying, what if this, what if that? Rather than the opposite to that, the antidote to that is, I'm going to go into it, I'm going to have a go, and I will see what happens. That's the antidote. Your body is amazing. It can repair and regenerate itself, but it does need our support. It needs your support. It's your body. It's the place where you live. And I think, well, I know that sort of 21st century living is not conducive to supporting our body's ability to heal, maintain and repair itself, to promote good health, total good health, mental, physical, spiritual and emotional, in equal measures. So I'm just going to leave you with those thoughts today, to maybe consider some of the ways that you respond to things in your own life, and to maybe observe some of those things a little bit more closely over the next few days as we head into autumn. It's the equinox at the weekend. We have equal amounts of daylight and darkness, and it's a lovely time of year to get out into nature and to connect with the falling leaves and the trees and the beautiful colours that we have around at this time of year. And that will most definitely help to increase your serotonin levels, but also to increase your uptake of vitamin D, which is equally as important for the immune system. So thank you for joining me today. It's always my absolute pleasure to be here. And my website is just about finished now. There's a little bit more work to do on that, but if you do want to message me or get in contact, you can email me via that at vickymarston.co.uk, Vicky with an I. And my Facebook page, if you're on Facebook, is Self Development Leicester, where I post sources of inspiration for myself and other people most days. So thank you again for joining me, and good health this autumn.